Good morning everyone, I'm Chris and welcome back to another episode of Rift Amps. Just finished putting together this PR18 brown panel, all ready to go. It's looking great. The only thing is I haven't quite got the gaps lined up on the chassis here, so I just need to move it over slightly. There should be a 1/16 inch of a gap each side. So it's just a case of moving it over and lining it up. And I've got some shims that I use to do that. So yeah, but that's the only thing. Apart from that, it's great. All ready to go. Lovely cabinet. G12C in the back. All ready to go, all sorted. So yep, going to box that one up, ship it off to the customer. And then we'll crack on with the next one. Got a little bit of Rift history here for you. This is the working prototype of the Americana. As you know, the Americana is a low-powered 50s tweed style amp with onboard reverb. Before we went to the TV style cabinet and finalised that design, I built this working prototype, proof of concept, to make sure that it was all going to work and fine. And we just did it in a wide panel cabinet. So I did actually sell this to a good customer of mine. He had it for a while and then he sold it to someone else who sold it to someone else. As you know, with second-hand amps, they do get passed around quite a bit. Unfortunately, at some point it was couriered. It was either not packaged very well or something, but it did get damaged. So the current owner has brought it into me to go through it, make sure it's okay, check it out, etc, etc, etc. So I'm going to try and show you what's what. So as you know, with all tweed amplifiers, they are top mounted usually, and that's it. On the larger, heavier ones, and as I do on the Americana, I do put an extra support screw mounted to a transformer bracket to support it. On this particular one, the chassis had 4 extra holes for M6 mounting hardware, so I did that as well. And as you can see, at some point, it took quite a hefty whack, and the chassis got bent. On top of that, this is the original faceplate for it. It got something spilt on it, and during the accident it got cracked when someone has tried to glue it back together. So this amp has been through quite a lot. So anyway, it's coming to me. I fitted a new faceplate. I tried to bend the chassis back as much as I can, but it's never going to be perfect. But that's the best we can get it. New faceplate on it. I've gone through it. I've given it a good service. He did actually say it was making a bit of a funny noise, and I found the screen dropper in the HT rail. Obviously something downstream of that was drawing too much current, so this resistor was getting quite hot. So anyway, I've gone through it, I've checked everything out. It's all good now, it's all back together. WSG12C, and the customer can have this back. It actually sounds fantastic, but it's not exactly the same circuit now as the current Americanas are, because I've obviously developed those further. So it's interesting to go back and hear this one next to a current Americana. You can really hear how I've refined the circuit. But this one's got a really cool raucous thing going on, and whatnot. They're just different, just trying to refine things and make them better. But yeah, unfortunately, this one took a bit of a drop, despite me doing my absolute best to prevent that. But there you go. Things happen. Anyway, yeah, a bit of riff history for you. The Americana prototype in a narrow panel cabinet. Right, you've all seen the Laney video by now, but I've just finished putting it back together. As promised, new feet on the bottom. new hardware. And if you remember on the back, the lower two panel screws didn't have cup washers. Now I didn't have exactly the right size, but it's better than nothing. So we're all back together. Just got to work out the bill for this, but I mean, I've logged 4 hours on it, but I don't think a lot of that was filming. So I think we'll charge him 3 plus the parts. So I think that's a fair way to do it. But yeah, the Laney is all done. The 18-watt cabinet has arrived for the chap in North America. So this one, I've just got to drill it for the chassis, install the handle, put the shielding underneath. This one's having a Celestian gold, which I've got here. So we need to make up a speaker cable for that, get that installed, chassis in, final play test, and then we can box it up and get it shipped off, because he has been waiting a while for this. So I do appreciate his patience, but it is looking really, really good. So yeah, we'll get that one done this afternoon. Ainsley Lister signature progress. Nearly done on this, just got to tidy up a little bit, then I can get it soak tested, fired up, soak tested and all sorted. So yeah, that one has come out really well actually. Just got to again just give it a tidy up and sort out, make it look as neat as possible. I've currently got the F1 testing on, watching that in the background while I work, and as is usual for February in the UK, it is raining. So yeah, a bit miserable, but let's crack on with this 18-watt cab, because I want to get this one out the door as soon as possible. This is an Americana that we built 2-3 years ago now, and it's currently owned by a chap in Germany. Now he sent just the chassis and the valves into me for service. He wants me to check a few things out, and when I opened it up, I immediately noticed that someone else had been inside and had changed out some values of caps and resistors to try and change the sound of the amplifier. Now, why have they done that? Well, turns out one of the previous owners of this amplifier was a jazz player, so obviously had the amplifier modded to be better for jazz tones, things like that. Now, the current owner isn't a jazz player, and had noted that he just couldn't get the amplifier to overdrive and break up in the way that he thought it should. So wanted me to check that out, wanted me to just check some other things as well. Of course, when I opened it up, I immediately saw those changes and said, well, there you go. That's, we need to swap those things back to stock, back to how I designed it, and make sure it's running as intended. The only other thing is it was originally wired for 240 volts mains in the UK, but obviously over in Germany they're 230, so I've got to swap the primary tap over on the transformer. And the other thing I need to do is I'm just going to tweak the bias. So I've just pulled the bias resistor out, cathode bias resistor. We're going to up that to the next value up, and put a new bias cap in as well while we're at it. So yeah, nice easy job on that one. But yeah, all the way from Germany. It took forever to get this thing through customs. There is a procedure that allows you to import stuff for repair and then export it, but it's a big old faff. I mean, oh my god, it's taken weeks and weeks to get this thing on my doorstep. So yeah, we're gonna have to think about how we help our customers abroad with servicing, because we can't have amps sat in customs for 3-4 weeks while they sort the paperwork out, even though there is a process that allows for it. So yeah, bizarre thing. Anyway, Americana in for service. Going to get this finished on the test bench, tested, and then boxed up and shipped back out to the customer as soon as possible. Just had another delivery of Elysium enclosures from our supplier. They're looking absolutely fantastic. This is an order for Coda Music, so they're going to be stocking these. So if you want to get your hands on one, you can give them a call and get one reserved. So I'm doing 5 for Coda and then just an extra one for stock here. No, I'm not. That's a lie. 5 for Coda, and this one is for our demo board for the guitar show next weekend. God, you can tell it's a Friday, can't you? I can't even think straight. So that's what I'm doing with that. Need to get all those drilled. Do you remember I mentioned about the LED bezels? Well, I still can't get the size that I want. I've tried many different suppliers now, so we're going to have to go to the smaller one. Not that it makes a difference, it's just that I have to remember to drill the enclosures for the correct size bezel. Anyway, that's all that. That's those enclosures done. The 18-watt Plexi cabinet is all done. I always put them in these plastic bags just to keep the dust and protect them off. Keep the dust off them and protect them. God, get that right. So I'm just waiting on... What am I waiting on? I can't remember now. Oh yeah, can't ship this till early next week. That's all it is. So I've just got to box it up and get it shipped. So cracking on with those. What was the other thing I was going to say to you guys? Oh yeah, guitar show next weekend. Yeah, so I haven't done the guitar show since 2020, which was just before first lockdown in COVID. Which was that end of February, and then we went to lockdown, I think a week or two after that. So, I mean, people were already walking around that show. Some people were coughing. I remember it was in the news, you know, COVID was coming, and it was coming fast. So, but I did enjoy that show. We had a good time. Anyway, 2021 was cancelled for COVID. 22, he held it later in the year for some reason, which we couldn't do. Something clashed. And then 2023, I just couldn't afford it that year, so we didn't do it. But we're back this year, really looking forward to it. We've got a good stand near some really good guys, especially Iverson Guitars. So if you ever want to check out an Iverson, come see me, then go see Neil. Incredible guitars, big fan. I mean, I've known Neil for a couple of years now. I mean, when he started those things, you know, he was just doing the small guitar shows with me. You know, we'd have a table each, and the way he's grown that business and the success he's had is just phenomenal. So yeah, go check out Iverson Guitars. Anyway, I thought, I need to start prepping for the show, so I'm going to pull out all of the booth material. Like I've got the banner for the back, I've got the roller banners that pull up, you know, all the stuff you have on your table. Make sure I've got a good stand. Pulled out the banner, and unfortunately it's damaged. I don't know how it happened, because we only used it once at the show in 2020. It must have happened when we were putting it away. So I've designed a new banner, which actually is an improvement, because I've got a big QR code on there now, so you'll be able to scan it with your phone and get all the details. But it's really close to the show, so I rang the company that makes them and said, can you guarantee that you'll get this to me for the show? And they said, well, it's going to be tough because we're busy. They said the earliest they could ship it is next Thursday for delivery on Friday. Now, Friday is the day that I'm going to set up. So fingers crossed it comes in time and there's no delays and nothing happens. But I said to him, look, if it's not going to be here, I don't need it. There's no point. You know, I'm not paying out all that money for a new, you know, high quality mesh banner if it's not going to be here for the show. Now, yes, partly my fault that you know, I only check this thing now, but you know, they state on their website delivery times and things, and he called me up and said actually it might be a bit later. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed it turns up. I might have to think what we can do as a contingency plan. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, really looking forward to the guitar show. What am I going to have there? I'm going to have that Ainsley Lister signature. I'm going to have a PR18. I've got a prototype to have, and we might try and bring something else too, but we'll see. Haven't got a lot of space on the stand, and as always, quality over quantity, so we'll see how we get on. But yeah, it'd be a nice show to do. I don't sell anything at the shows. For me, they're just a show and tell, so I don't have to bring stock. Just turn up, here's my wares, have a look, have a play, see what you think, and then, you know, go away and order when you're ready. You don't, you know, there's no pressure to buy. So I don't take stock to sell. It's not the way I like to do these shows. But, you know, that's just that. Right, cracking on. Okay, so if you know the Saga of the HighW, after I posted the video where I said the customer had decided he didn't want to go ahead with the build, I had a lot of emails of people asking me if they would be able to have a go at building that themselves at home. And I thought about this, and I decided actually we're onto something here, because the 18 watt or JTM45 chassis is very versatile. You know, 17 inches wide, about 430 mil by 6.5 inches, 165 mil. You can do a lot with it. You can get 4 preamp valves, and if you really wanted to, a rectifier valve and 2 output valves, depending on what they are. Or, I mean, that's the most you could get, but you could obviously do less. There's a lot of room on this chassis to do a lot with it. And so I thought maybe we think about this further. And so there are a lot of circuits that you could build into this chassis if you're comfortable doing a bit of metal work, you know, and board design. But what a lot of you homebrew guys maybe aren't quite that good at is turning a schematic into a circuit, into an actual layout, because that is a skill and it is quite difficult. There's a lot of things to consider, but once you've got that blueprint, it's quite easy to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue drawing out the layout for the HighW into this size chassis, as was my original plan, and then I'm going to post that online for people to download, and then if they want to use that and build their own amps at home, they're more than welcome to, completely free of charge. Not going to charge anything for that at all. It's just I think that's just a nice thing to do for people who want to, you know, build circuits into that chassis. Because the thing with this chassis, you could do a small box head, and then you've got a nice portable thing with a killer circuit inside. So I'm still working on the HighW, but the other circuit that I get asked for a lot is the Trainwreck Express. Okay, now if you go online, there's loads of different versions of this available based on what people think they are, what people have actually seen in real train wrecks, what other cloners have done to improve it or to make changes, all this thing. Anyway, the one that's most popular is version A1A. It's not perfect as a circuit design, but it's I have built this one before, and it does sound killer. So what I've done is I've done a layout, and I converted that Trainwreck Express circuit to fit inside a JTM45 18 watt chassis with a centralized, all the components on the centralized board, 3 preamp valves, 2 output valves, 4, 8 and 6 amps, you know, that sort of thing. So if you wanted, you can download this for free. I'll put it up on the website, and I'll put some specs on as well, so you know what size board you need and all that thing. I'm not going to be selling parts for these, so don't ask. I'm literally just doing a layout, and then it's for you to take that further. Now, it's not perfect because I've yet to build it in this current format with this grounding scheme. So when I do get round to building this sheet will be updated. Currently version 1, as you can see. So I've done this is a prototype version 1, as you might call it. But it's got all the controls on the front, single input, etc., etc. Now, on the downloads page of my website, you'll find this, so you can download that. And there'll be two files. There'll be the layout and there'll be the board, but there won't be a schematic. Now, if you look at version A1A, there are some strange values on here. For example, in the B plus rail, an 18K2 resistor and then two 9K1s. Well, those are not E12 values, so they're quite difficult to source. So I'm going to put two versions of this up. I'm going to put the original with all the original values, and there's a couple of things in here that are quite odd or quite unusual, might I say. And I'm going to put another version up which uses the standard E12 values for all the resistors and caps that you can buy off the shelf. So yeah, that's the way we're going to do that one. So, but the point I'm making is that either way, you can the guy at home will be able to build this if you so want. But yeah, it's just to help you guys out at home, really, if you want to build some cool stuff. And I think, you know, we'll build up a nice collection of circuits that you can build into this size chassis, that you can then go ahead and tweak and adjust and thing for later on. But yeah, we'll start with the train wreck. I'll get the HighW one done as well, but that's how it's going to look. And then you guys can take it from there. Well, that's all we've got time for once again. A couple of you have asked me about this particular guitar that you've seen in the background of some videos. This is by a builder called Neil Haynes Guitars. This is his inflection model, which is his S-type. And this one was built to my specs because I'm an awkward bugger, really. I do not get on really well with standard Stratocaster pickups. Tele pickups, yes. Strat pickups, not so much. And I once saw a guitar that had two Firebird pickups on an S-type, so that's what I had Neil make for me a couple of years back now. This one's a hardtail because I really like hardtail Strats. It's a great guitar. Unfortunately, I stuck it in the corner of the workshop and I forgot about it for a year or so. So anyway, I recently dug it out, cleaned it up, put new strings on it, you know, give it a, you know, service the pots, sort it all out, give it a quick setup, and it sounds killer. So I've been playing it all this week, really enjoying the tones that it gives. Nice guitar. I do like green guitars. That's one of my things. And then my problem is that even though I've got massive hands, I prefer like a Les Paul scale length. So I rarely play other guitars that are, you know, other than Les Pauls. But this Strat is absolutely killer for me. Anyway, you know, they're super comfy to play. Play this all day. You don't get hand fatigue. I've always suffered with guitar wrist. So if I play too long, I get, you know, tendon flares up in the wrist. So I have to be careful. But this guitar doesn't do that for me. So yeah, it's nice. Anyway, yeah, so that's that. So thank you very much for watching once again. I hope you all enjoyed the Laney video in the middle of the week. Killer amp, nice to get that up and running. And please give this video a thumbs up, comments down below. Join the channel if you haven't already, but you don't have to, it's optional. Best way to support the channel is subscribe it, as I always say, and I shall catch you all at the next one.